Good day. This is the Valder Beebe Show live out of Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Michael. Welcome, Ashley. How
Thank
are
you.
you?
Good.
Oh, so happy to be here with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, Ashley, you're here to kind of give us a look inside of your life just a little bit. Could you give us a synopsis of why you're here today?
Of course. So actually, November is National Family Caregivers Month. And I have been the caregiver first to my husband and then to my son. It was actually, I was married, we had 3 kids, and it was in 2014 that my husband was diagnosed with lymphoma. And at that time, someone encouraged me to reach out to Blood Cancer United. And I really I isolated myself, and I felt like I was just overwhelmed. I was working full time, taking care of the kids and caregiving for my husband. And he passed away shortly after that. And it was just 4 years later, my son was diagnosed with cancer. And I became his full-time caregiver, which became my passion, which is why, of course, that we're here today speaking about this. And a social worker this time encouraged me, reach out to Blood Cancer United. And this time I listened, and I called, I spoke to an information specialist, and I just left that call feeling like I was not alone. I felt more knowledgeable and more empowered speaking to people that understood and that knew about what I was going through.
If I could, Michael, could you give me your story from being cared for?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with cancer at 19 years old. I was diagnosed with hepatosplenic T-cell lymphoma. And ever since my diagnosis, my mom was there by my side. When I first went to the hospital for that blood test, I actually went with my brother. And then a few weeks later, when I found out I had cancer, my mom was there, and she still is there with me through everything. I've been through cancer, through chemotherapy, radiation, a bone marrow transplant / stem cell transplant, and now I live with chronic graft versus host disease as a result of that bone marrow transplant. My mom, she's there with me through everything. I'm very blessed to have her support and very grateful that I have a caregiver by my side to help me get through this difficult time.
May I ask how old you are now, Michael?
I'm 24. I was 19 when I was diagnosed.
I'm going to ask you briefly, how is it living with a long-term disease?
Yeah, living with a long-term disease is very difficult. There is no end date to treatment. I'm currently in a clinical trial right now for my graft versus host disease, and just kind of having to understand that I might live with this for the rest of my life has been a bit of a shock, but it's something I've kind of accepted over the last few years. Initially it was a shock, but now it's kind of something I'm more accepted, and it's hard to plan for the future, but it's something that, you've got to live even if you have something going on. So we're just doing our best to live and advocate and share our message.
I want to thank you for sharing your story, and you're the type of guest that we have that we put on our prayer list, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
On our prayer list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Ashley, what do you want caregivers to know? Because more and more people are wearing that badge.
Oh, I know. I think the biggest thing is there are a lot of things that have helped me, but I think the biggest thing really has been connection. We really tend to isolate ourselves because you are working this 24/7 job. You are caring for that person. There are no days off from a disease or from an illness. There's no vacation. And I think that it's easy to isolate, put your head down and just take care of everyone else. But I think you need to take a moment, and self-care is a tough word. Caregivers don't always want to hear it, but I like to just say, it doesn't have to be a day at the spa. It could be just 5 minutes and you just take a shower, or maybe you just take a few deep breaths. We were talking earlier, and maybe you have to exercise or go to the gym. Just do one, even if it's one little thing, one small thing for you. And I think one of the big things really is not isolating. There are other people that understand. I think that's where Blood Cancer United really has come into play for us. And especially for me, is knowing that there's support out there. And now I can turn that around and also be the support for others.
When one is in the position that you're in as being a caregiver, what kind of resources are available?
Yeah, so if you go to bloodcancerunited.org, you can find there are support groups. There are also financial resources. I know for me in the beginning, I was so overwhelmed. I spoke with an information specialist who we talked about other doctors. We spoke about second opinions that reassured me that we were on the right place, with Michael. So you can find a long list. And you know what? Even if you're not a patient, even if you're not a caregiver, you can go there and you can support other people. So I really encourage people to reach out for support. I think that really has been a key for us, is to not feel alone.
And what's that website again?
That website is bloodcancerunited.org. And there's also a phone number you can call, 1-800-955-4572. And all of the resources are completely
Hi, I'm Valder Beebe, host of The Valder Beebe
I
Show.
want to thank you and
We
Michael
have over
Ashley
1,000 videos
for
on
stopping by the
ValderBeebeShow.com
Show,
and
you guys are the reason that I get to do this show, to
YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow.
bring incredible
We
souls to the
upload new
world. So
videos
thank you so
daily.
much for stopping.
Our
And I
site is
pray
a
and I
modern
wish
baby
you the best
boomer
on your
platform
journey.
with news and
Thank you
information
so
important
much.
to
We
boomers.
appreciate those prayers
Subscribe
more
to
than anything else.
Thank you so much again.
YouTube.com/ValderBeebeShow and stay connected as I interview the world's most fascinating people.